Hello, it's me again. Well, could be a song there, but I won't sing. Anyway, the next instalment of using our wonderful Cosmic Shimmer products is to look at applying it to maybe recycled items. So what I'm going to do is a video showing something I did about, 15 years ago in school. And I still love it now. And, good things don't really get old today. Unless the leg warmers. Right, anyway, so I've got an old book, hardback book, children's book, and it's one of them that's got old plastic pages in it. Now, for many, many years, people were trying to gesso over this. Not a good idea because it peels off. So my advice is you get the edge of the paper, and it's a bit like a beer mat. Gently, admittedly, yeah, that's the word. Some are easier than others to peel. Some, if you don't get it right, actually are really difficult. So I took the page off. If you want to keep this for like little cutouts and collages, that's a good idea. So I'll just show you how I did it. So you just peel it and try and... Oh, that sounds amazing. So as you get a good pull on it, peel it. So what you're left with is a page that won't buckle or ruckle. You can paint on it. It's a sturdy base, and you can do everything and anything. I've got my beautiful page already set up. I've got some colours, so I'm using really bright colours, and there's a reason I want to do this, and that's because I'm going to do layer upon layer upon layer. All right? So I've got some pretty big brushes. Now, these are my old ones, Lou brushes. I still love these. And I've got a big Royal and Langnickel, flicky brush. I've got a pail of water. I've got some Cosmic Shimmer Pixie powders as well if I want to put on top. I've got a palette, water, and I've got this gesso because we're going to be using that now. So the first thing we're going to do is choose the page that you're going to do, and we're going to get... I'll put that there so you can see it. So we're going to get... Now, I don't think people realise how little of this you need. I see some people when I'm doing workshops or working, and I'm like, really? You only need slight covering. I see people do it, that's it, they've got to dry it. Well, yeah, if you want to do that, that's cool. But if you just want a little base, then you just need a little bit. Now, if you're finding that that's not enough, dab a tiny bit of water on it. Because don't forget, this is very thick absorbent paper. So it won't sort of glide like it would on the others. But this gesso's really good. I like me a good gesso. Sorry about that. Right, so I've got one very patchily done. And it's sort of, you can see where you need it. But the paint underneath will react slightly different because where it's not, I'm going to leave the lid there, where it's not actually taken very well, I will end up with a deeper colour. Because don't forget, you're using a chalk paint, chances are that these will change. So what I'm going to do is, now, what I didn't do, what you should do, of course, is give them a blooming good shake. Now, I would tell you that these are not the colours on that. They're a little bit different than that. So, be aware of that. Now, I'm just going to mix that up. So when you're looking at these colours, you're like, oh, that's a bit light or maybe too pastel-y. But once you've started to sort of get in there and paint with them, you'll realise that they're quite bright. So I'm not using a black. I'm going to use a midnight if I need any dark. So I've let that dry. That's all we need. If you want to damp it down, you can always give it a quick spray. I mean, I found a new spray now and I'm loving it. It helps me hands so much. And you sort of spray it and it keeps going forever. Well, not forever, that's a lie. It goes for a while. Anyway, I'm not changing my brush. I'm just going to go straight in. Now, I didn't rinse this well enough, but look at the coverage. So here you can see the depth in different areas. I'm just going to go in between blocks, not blocks of colour, but areas of colour. If you do it too blocky, then it can look a bit over precise, but that really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. So I'm changing colours, just giving my brush a bit of a wipe. Really shouldn't be using too much water with these because you just don't need it. They're a really flat chalk. Well, they've got a chalk colour to them, but they're not, to me, they're, they've been going for years. We've all loved them for years. So here, I'm going to leave that a minute, give it a little bit of a dry, so it feels, it's still not bone dry, but it is dryish. Now, I'm loving these white colours because we've got a warm white, we've got a mushroom, we've got a sky, and I love these because although they look very similar, they give a very different effect. One thing I did forget to say to you before is always give yourself like a colour swatch. Then that way you can build upon the colours. Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, is mushroom the right colour? Oh, maybe it isn't. Maybe grey, maybe warm white. And that's where I'll go with both. That's where all these colours need. Change my mind again, I'm going with mushroom. That's why all these colours need to be swatched because they look very different. So here I've got the mushroom. Now the mushroom's a really good colour as a base. So I've got the other wells and I'm going to start to do some blending in between. So I'm just going to put on a little bit more of the pink where I want it, straight in with the mushroom and just blend it over. Can you see how it's lifted it? So a little bit of wet paint. And the mushroom straight in. And I'm just taking the edge off very lightly, wafting. That's it. That's a finger term, that wafting. Wafting. So, a bit more. And don't be too precious because this is, as we say, a background. It's not a foreground. This is not going to be at the front, okay? So I'm going to do that with all of them and spend a little bit of time doing this because I think this is the most important thing, and this is what people do get a little bit wrong sometimes because they get over anxious about it and they get a bit frantic. So as you can see, I'm just blending the colours using a tiny bit of that mushroom while it's still damp to blend the colours out. Now, bear in mind, this is a recycled book. It is an older board book, so you get very different effects with this, and that's what I love. So, go away. That wants to come in on the action, that, doesn't it? So whilst I can sort of build up the colours very bright and vivid, I can tame them down a little bit and warm them up if you're using a warm, or just tone them down if you're using a grey. Right? And whilst that is still wet, I'm getting some really nice little, now if you want to go for pure white and drag it down, or pure like gesso, that's very different effect, but I love this. So here, I'm just going to bring that up whilst one of my favourite colours is, I love this. I think it's guacamole. Absolutely love it. It's sort of warm. It tones with things, and it's just wonderful. So here you can see we've lost a little bit of pink. Now have you noticed, I've not cleaned my brush once because the paint covers. it covers really well. And it covers, I think when you get your paints out and you know, hopefully the powers that be will be able to put a little link on for me with all the paints I've used. We forget what we've got in our arsenal. So this is just a way back to thinking, oh, yeah. So now what I'm doing, and this sounds really daft, is I'm just dragging out from this side very gently. I'm like flipping, just like a bit of flick like that. And I'm putting it in the middle where I want it bright. And then not going in the middle, just around it, if that makes sense. So I'll do it on the pink so you can see. So here I should have really, even though I didn't mix it right, still behaving absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to do it dark there, but here I'm not going to go over that bit. I'm leaving the dense bit in the middle, and I might put a bit over here just to... Right, so there's our background, all done, believe it or not, layer one. Grab yourself some stencils that you like. I mean, these are just absolutely the best. Generic ones, and that one for the end. But just go with what you want. You don't have to have what I've got. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to do this. I'm going to blend it with this, but I'm just going to get on this love this, and I'm just going to put on like for like. What does that mean? Well, it means basically where it's pink, I'm just going to do pink. You can hardly see it, but that's what I want. So pink for pink. And if you do find that it's wet underneath, don't worry. Let it all blend. Just see it happening there. So if it bleeds, don't worry. You just say like for like. So green on the green, blue on the blue. And if you've got a little bit of tearing like that, don't worry. All that is that your board's wet underneath. So you can see it's starting to build up colours. Now, what I'm going to do is just clean that to get rid of that. Now, I'm going to find that this could, if I'm not careful, bleed and not how I want. So I've got the buff. And I'm just going to put on a little bit of buff. Mushroom, sorry, not buff, mushroom. Like that. Don't want too much of this because I want the colours to be less muddy and more bright. But it really is all about your choice and what you want. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to leave it. Now, the thing is, you've got to get this dry now. Okay, so I'm going to dry it off. Next, nice and dry. What I've got are the pixie powders. Now, you can do this two ways. And I'm just going to I've put in there Sun Yellow and the pixie powder, Cosmic Shimmer pixie powder. So I'm just going to get my brush, get a little bit of water and create a lovely, look at that, luscious, oh no, a bit more water, luscious drop of bling. It's got to be done. So you won't see the full effect of this until we, let it dry and let the sparkle appear, because that's what happens with this. To me, it does anyway. It sort of wants to, you want more on and then you realise, oh, stop. So just be warned. I'm going to put in a little bit of the rich gold. Now, I don't want too much of this because otherwise it'll look like a bit too much for me anyways. But this is a darker gold. And don't forget, the pixie powders, they're not just for, it's got it everywhere. Going out shopping later on with all powders on my face. Who knew? And if you've got some little... Now, this is nothing to do with the paint. This is all to do with the board being wet. So, And if you feel you've got some little white bits showing that you don't want, because remember this is a layer of many. Now if you want to rub it in, you can. So around the edges, just give it a minute to sort of soak in a little bit. Now, ready. So what I'm going to do is dry another layer, which is really important to dry it, and then we'll move on to the next part. So I'm going to get so dry now. And if you don't want to wait, you can always buff it with your page. You see what I've done now. I've buffed it. I just went like that and buffed it. But if I pick it up and show you, oh, it's lush. And you can see layers upon layers. So you see, these books for your mixed media are just out of this world. So, they take a lot of battering. So I'm going to get the mushroom and I'm just going to put in like that. Like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just almost like to your graffiti. Like that. So I'm going to let that, again, dry. I've got a stencil now, and I'm just looking at parts of it, and I'm just going to put parts of it in. I'm going to use gesso this time, because I want it lighter than the actual there. So I'm just going to run this through. Doesn't have to be perfect, because this is for us later. So you can see I've got that there. Now I could do another one there if I wish. Yeah, might do. Should we? Or should we not? Yeah, we'll do another one that meets it. So it's sort of on the corner. Now I'm just using the remnants from the lid. Now this is called ghosting. So this is like creating something and then fading it out. And then up here, I'm just going to run in. Now this stencil has got lots of, wonderful parts in it. So, do you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a circle around that, around the love. Oh, I wasn't planning on doing that, but hey ho, just stuck it in the mushroom by accident, but it really don't matter. So I'm just going to put that there like that. So it's and if you feel that you want to go back over anywhere for a bit more oomph, how did that not go? Have I done that? Oh, yeah, trust me. So I'm just going to do this bit here and that bit there. So pick any stencil, seriously, because this isn't the end of it. And then we've got this wonderful pattern coming around it. Perhaps, you think, no, I don't want to leave it just like that. And you can, if you so wish, go back to your little circle ones, get a bit of the gesso. And just have a couple there like that. You don't want many because it overpowers and what have I done now? I've got all these here. So I've got like little bubbles here, which look quite nice. And then just bring it diagonal. So it's part of it. Look, not the main part. So what I've got here is some pens. Any pens that work. They don't have to be perfect pens, but they need to go on the paint. I've got some Posca pens, gold, silver, black and white. And I'm just going to look at, the first bit is I'm going to warm up on this because I'm frightened to attack it. So I'm just going to go, see that's wet, don't like it. So I've got a pencil So the pencil isn't too much. So if it's not too dark, not black. And I'm just looking for areas. Now, this is a wash pencil. So if I tell you it's a Derwent sketching and it's a light wash, that means that I can add water to it. But if I want to, I will keep this as a pencil, or I can turn it into a wash, adding water later. So I've got options. So I'm just picking out some spaces. This gives me a little bit of, I'm ready now for straight on there. Here, I'm just putting it around one side so that I can give it a bit of depth. Show you what I mean. So there, so where would it be there? Underneath. It really don't matter if you make a mistake. So we've got some darkens, which we'll see in a minute. But what about our words? Well, this is where you just put a line in it. Okay? And then go over it if you wish. Make it blacker. And you're following your paint lines like this. And it does look pretty rubbish at the moment. But when I'm using a pencil, I can afford to do that because I can get rid of some of it. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my black, she says, I'm going to get my black poster. And I'm just going to go around not too many. Because it's overpowering. Okay. So, and what you can do, don't forget, is if you get a brush and water it, Poscas, you can actually paint with them. So, if you don't like that, if you get that and then go, you can wash it off, give it some effect. Now, I've got to get these to dry, so hence doing that, it just dries it off. So again, I want to get rid of some of it because it's a bit thick. Yeah, you've always got options, always. So I quite like this because I'm just showing you how I get it off. I really like the idea. So if I want a little bit more water, get some more water, get some kitchen roll. So I want to show people how you can really not worry about what you've got done. So I'm going to try and get, because I've done it all now, I'm going to have to do it all. Trust me. Now, if I'm honest, I like that better. It's not as dark and in your face. So what I'm going to do is get my white, and just while I can, I'm going to do some white ones. If you do them in the black as well, you've got a great outline for it, like a planet. And I love the idea of light and dark and shade. And you can always break up colour using this little technique. If you've left them out that you don't like. If you want to highlight others. So we've gone with that. So now what we've got today is think about this lettering. I've got an ordinary biro, and this is a purple one, and I'm just going out around the outside of my lettering. And this means that if I don't like it, I've not made a huge mistake, and I'm not, too worried about what's going to happen. So you can see there's the one. love, the word love. So with this, I'm going to go and I'm going to doodle on my... Now, those of you that know me know, hopefully, that I've got a brand called Moodling. And this is all about taking your time and enjoying what you do and being mindful. So any patterns, I'm really not interested in the shape yet. I'm interested in, I like the flower shape, so that's going to be my, go-to shape for all of it. I like the idea of it being consistent within the shape, because then it's coherent. So here, what am I going to do here? I'll do it that way and then that way, and it looks like it's part of the other, and then I do a round one there. Right, got a little bit of paint on the end. And then like that. So we've got these crazy lines, but do not fear. Right, I've got my paints, got my pens, and I'm using exactly the same paints I used before. So I'm going to go in with so here, just that letter. Now, I'm sort of aware that it's hard to see, but I will bring the images up, and I'm going over the pen marks, and with it being purple, I'm getting an orange, which is wonderful. Getting a strange thing occurs when you start to get the pattern covered, or the pen covered over the paint. The paint covers it, and it creates this. Every one is different. Every pen and ink is different. Bit like some garments in black, when you bleach them, they cover a different colour. They come a different colour, sorry. So as you can see, starting to get some orange. I'll just bring it up and show it you. You see the orange occurring. Right. So, done that. And you get a little bit, that's not clean, is it? And you'll get a little bit of the paint and just... If I can see the paint, I don't care. I really don't care. If I see the pen. Did I say paint? Oh, and I'm not in depth with this now that I can't concentrate. And I can't at the best of times. I concentrate, but I can't remember stuff. So, yeah, right. So I'm doing the petals in this pink. And then, I mean, if you look at how Lisa does her stuff and how Sheena works with the paints and everything, you'll get a tip from all of us. And we're all different with it. And that's good, because it should be. You want people to show you what they do. We don't all do the same. So I'm just going to do a little bit. Oh, now, what's happened is I've not flicked my water off. So I'm going to leave that and come to this bit. So I'm just going to paint the background. And the reason I'm keeping to the colours I've already got is so that because you get too many colours together, it just overpowers what your feature is. So I'm not leaving it here. I mean, the last video would be me doodling on these and moodling on them and just sort of putting some pattern and design over the top. It doesn't matter if it mixes. You could do all sorts of different things on here. You could do folk painting, you could do stamping, you could cover that area up and stamp it and leave it. You could do all sorts. So there's no right and wrong way. There's no this way or that way. It's your way. I'm just giving you the ingredients to make your own recipe. So I've noticed, I've just stuck the paintbrush in my hair. I've noticed I missed out the pinks. So let's go back. So when we come back, hopefully it'll be all dry and I can end and show you what we're going to do for that. The last bit of all this is the best bit to me. You go in with your pens. I'm using some pens, some drawing Uniball, they're really good. Posca, I've got some Micron pens, got some gold and silver pens. You just use, I've got like a white pencil. And before I forget, I've actually put some water on, some of my dermal wash on here. So I'm just going to lift that out a little bit to give me a bit of depth. Because you sometimes can lose the outline within the actual work itself. So here, just put it in here, and I've just, again, don't be worried about how much, because you can get rid of it. So it's really simple about the idea of lifting something. So you can lift it by just like this here. I just do that. So I can put more on if I wish. I'm a great believer in less is more sort of thing. Now, there's lots of places on that here I've done it. So, you could wash it out. If you don't want to do that, if you've got a charcoal pencil or a little, like a dark colouring pencil, you can use watercolour pencils for this if you wish. And then you can just do simple shading in the background. And the reason I love this paint, because it's a chalk base, it's got a wonderful sort of grit to it. I don't mean that it's gritty, not at all, but it's got a lovely tooth, that's the word. So if you wish, rather than going in with the pen, you can go in with this and add like a chocolate. This is chocolate. This is a Derwent drawing pencil. So again, you go over this. I don't particularly like it at the moment, but once I start, and I start to go over it, again, I'm not even keeping to the lines. I don't need to, because it's not about, it's about keeping, it's not about keeping the line straight or anything like that. It's just about having a little bit of peace and quiet, drawing on it, putting as many details or as little as you want, and then just allow yourself to enjoy it, because this is the bit that is the best bit. So what you're going to do is do lots of wiggly lines over your words. And this way, if you've got, it's like a 60s flower power, if you've got wiggly hands like that don't want to work sometimes like mine, then it really don't matter. Because the wigglier, the better. And I'll show you what we'll do. I'm going to shorten them a little bit. Like that. So we've got that, we've got that. And then if you want to go in with, your pen, you can do like an idea about just doing some pointillism. Pointillism is where you bring in dots and light So the more dots you put together, the stronger the light, the less dots, the weaker the light. But it works really well with trying to create sort of depths and things. And I think I might do some more around here. And just let them peter off. Don't have to be everywhere. And then if you look at some of the wiggly lines I've got, I'm just going to go in those little bumps, and there we go. And then I'm going to get my gold pen. Oh, I can't finish it all because it's never finished. So I'm drawing gold patterns in them, which is hard to see on the screen. But it is. This is so satisfying. All the lines build up. Everything that's underneath needs to be there. And I'm just going in with this gold pen so that it catches the light, like we did before. And if you want to, you can go in and put some gold just to highlight it. So the colours I used were warm white, Prussian blue, Holy Guacamole, and Orchid. I've used the white gesso. I've used different colours pens. I've used the sun yellow and the oak rich gold, and stencils ahoy, wherever you want, black, white, gold pens, and you just go for it. Just go for it and just enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I blooming loved it. And the next one is we take it now to a calendar. Thanks for your time. Thank you for being there, and I hope you enjoyed it.